So I was doing stuff for myself. But when a Blucas the Old says jump, I just have to drop everything and jump. I do all the video introductions, you know. Oh, and speaking of introductions, here is another video. Blucas the Old made it. You know, for you to watching stuff. This story is about anger. And you know what? There are likely to be quite a few more of these. Anger seems to be becoming a very popular extreme sport these days. And thus, the story begins.
Rain hammered against the window, a tempestuous symphony that mirrored the storm brewing inside Fred and Alvina's dilapidated farmhouse. Their voices, sharp as thorns, cut through the once peaceful sanctuary, fragmenting the air with accusations and contempt. The front of the house, Alvina's domain, blossomed with the tender care of her green fingers, her meticulous nature evident in every pruned rosebush and sculpted hedge. In stark contrast, the backyard was Fred's untamed kingdom, a wild expanse where nature ran riot and a solitary goat meandered, nibbling on whatever it pleased. This chaotic balance had held, teetering on the precipice of utter collapse, for years. Their communication, once filled with tender whispers and shared dreams, had devolved into a relentless barrage of battles, each skirmish severing the ties that bound them tighter. David, their 10-year-old grandson, had arrived with the hope of escape from his parents' structured city life, yearning for the rustic charm his grandparents' home promised. Instead, he found himself in a war zone, where silence was the calm before the storm of the next argument. His presence, unnoticed amidst the daily eruptions, became just another shadow on the wall. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, igniting the sky with fiery reds and oranges, the usual cacophony erupted. Fred accused Alvina of encroaching on his territory with her creeping ivy and flower beds. Alvina retaliated, criticizing his neglect and the wild disarray of his part of their world. David, usually a silent observer, felt something shift within him. The incessant anger, the endless conflict, seemed suddenly absurd, a ridiculous spectacle of wasted energy and love. He stood, his small frame straightening with a resolve that quieted the room. "Grandpa," David began, his voice steady yet filled with an undeniable emotion, "why are you always so angry at each other?" His question, simple and direct, hung in the air like a delicate truce flag on a battlefield. Fred, taken aback, started to bluster about respect and boundaries, but Alvina, her eyes suddenly brimming with unshed tears, motioned for him to be silent. David continued, his words flowing with a wisdom far beyond his years. "You're both always fighting because you think the other is wrong. But when I look around, I see that Grandma's flowers make the front so beautiful. And Grandpa, your animals and the wildness at the back, it's really cool. You both have great things. But you're too angry to see it." He walked to where his grandparents stood, frozen by his audacity and truth. "You get angry because you think the other is taking something from you, changing how you live. But isn't it really just because you both want to control everything? Like, when I want something really bad, and Mom says no, I get mad. But it's really just because I'm not getting what I want." Fred and Alvina exchanged a glance, a silent conversation passing between them, a shared recognition of the truth in David's words. David, emboldened by their attentive silence, took a breath before delivering his final insight. "Maybe instead of being mad, you could just talk and see why you each like things a certain way. Being angry is easy because it's like throwing a big tantrum, but it doesn't really fix anything, does it?" In the wake of David's declaration, a heavy silence settled, filled with the weight of unspoken apologies and realizations. The evening air, once thick with hostility, seemed to sigh in relief, the garden itself pausing in a moment of peace. Fred, his gruff exterior softening, glanced at the blooming roses, then at the untamed beauty of his own wild domain. Alvina, her stern demeanor faltering, saw beyond the chaos of the backyard, recognizing the joy it brought to Fred. In that moment, a bridge formed over the chasm that had grown between them, constructed from the innocent wisdom of a child who saw not just with his eyes, but with his heart. The following days saw a transformation not just in the physical blending of their spaces, but in the mending of their relationship. Conversations replaced arguments, listening took the place of yelling, and a newfound respect blossomed, delicate but resilient. David, watching his grandparents find a harmony they thought lost, learned an invaluable lesson himself about the nature of anger and the power of empathy. The farm, once divided by invisible lines of resentment and stubbornness, flourished as a testament to the unity that can grow from understanding and the acknowledgement of one's own role in the discord of life. In this small, once fractured home on the outskirts of town, the simple truth revealed itself. Anger is a choice, and understanding is the path to peace, a lesson taught by a child who saw beyond the storm to the calm that lay beyond.
Look, if you haven't subscribed to Ablucas the Old yet, then may your chooks lay emus that will scratch your cat and annihilate your beloved dunny.